curious, thoughtful tone. Do we inherit our futures from the wealth we are handed, or can a person's character rewrite their position in the world? In a small village called Shifpur, this exact test was playing out in real time. On one side of a tiny mud house, you had a 17-year-old girl named Gauri, who woke before dawn to haul water, cook, and scrub floors. On the other side was her younger stepsister, Radhika, who slept late and lived entirely shielded from any household chores. The architect of this divide was their stepmother, Kamla. She operated on a strict transactional philosophy. She believed a woman's ultimate value and guaranteed happiness were entirely dependent on marrying into high-status, pre-existing wealth. The girl's father, Ram Prasad, saw the exhaustion in Gauri's eyes, but every time he thought to intervene, he backed down, choosing quiet retreats to the fields over conflict. His silence provided the perfect cover for Kamla's system to operate unchecked. Every morning, Kamla layered on new demands, washing the clothes, heating the milk, hauling the water, until Gauri had no time left to even remember her own name. While Radhika was encouraged to see herself as royalty, Gauri was treated as the household's invisible machinery. When a respectable, financially stable schoolteacher offered a marriage proposal for Gauri, Kamla immediately shut it down. Instead, she aggressively pursued a match with Mohan, a deeply impoverished farmer struggling with massive generational debt and a leaky roof. For Radhika, the standard was entirely different. She was quickly engaged to a man named Vikram, whose family boasted a large mansion, expensive cars, and a fleet of servants. Looking at this logic flowchart, we can see exactly how Kamla viewed the world. On the left, high financial capital inevitably points to a secure, happy life. On the right, zero assets and high debt point directly to ruin. She genuinely believed she was locking in their final destinies by controlling their starting capital. By forcing these two extremes, Kamla had inadvertently set up a brutal sociological test. The question was whether a life built entirely on material greed could outlast a foundation of sheer human resilience. After a quiet, uncelebrated wedding, Gauri arrived at her new, dilapidated mud home. Rather than breaking down over the conditions, she immediately applied the intense work ethic she had developed over years of forced labor. She woke at dawn, swept the courtyard, and had a warm meal ready before anyone else was even awake. Her husband, Mohan, had done something rare. He laid out his exact financial reality, the debt, the meager land, the poverty, before they even married. That transparency established a solid baseline of trust between them. Gauri planted tomatoes, okra, and chilies in every patch of dirt. This caused the green agricultural yield to scale upward, driving the red generational debt line down. They aggressively paid the debt until it hit zero, generating surplus capital for a new home. Gauri and Mohan succeeded because they treated their marriage as a cooperative enterprise. Shared labor and honest communication act exactly like compounding interest, generating real, sustainable wealth over time.
Meanwhile, Radhika was settling into her sprawling estate. Surrounded by expensive cars and luxury, it looked like the absolute pinnacle of her mother's materialistic dream. But the reality of that wealth quickly surfaced. Her husband Vikram experienced a sudden business loss and immediately demanded that Radhika extract 10 lakh rupees from her father to cover it, weaponizing her status as a bride to extort her family. When Radhika explained that her father didn't have that kind of money, her illusion of security shattered. Her in-laws subjected her to intense emotional abuse, strictly isolating her and treating her like a defaulted loan. When an environment is constructed entirely around the pursuit and retention of capital, human beings lose their intrinsic value. They are reduced to commodities, judged only by the immediate financial price they can command. News of Radhika's mistreatment soon reached the village. Without hesitation, Gauri and Mohan traveled straight to the estate. Gauri walked into the mansion with the confidence of someone who owed no one a single cent. Because she had built her own home and secured her own food supply, Vikram's threats of social standing and poverty had no leverage over her. She ignored his insults, identified the abuse, and told her sister that their own home, debt-free and growing, was waiting for her. Kamla's carefully engineered plan had completely backfired. The daughter she had actively tried to break had become the only person capable of saving the family. 2 days later, a panicked Kamla and Ramprasad rushed to Gauri's new home. There, they found Radhika, the child they thought was set for life, emotionally shattered and seeking refuge. Staring at the reality of the situation, Kamla's entire worldview imploded. She finally saw that marrying into a massive estate offered zero protection if the people inside it lacked basic human decency.
Kamla broke down, apologizing for years of cruelty. Gauri could have easily turned her away. Instead, she offered her stepmother immediate forgiveness, refusing to carry the bitterness of her childhood forward. Deeply entrenched, toxic family cycles aren't dismantled by seeking revenge. They break when someone finally introduces undeniable proof that a healthier, more compassionate way of living exists. But the story couldn't end with Radhika simply swapping one dependency for another. Living under Gauri's roof was safe, but to truly recover, Radhika needed to break her own lifetime habit of passivity. Recognizing this, Gauri and Mohan took a portion of their savings and bought a sewing machine from the city. Gauri taught her sister how to use it, effectively shifting Radhika from a passive consumer into an active producer. Within months, Radhika started sewing clothes for the village girls. She built a steady clientele, generated her own income, and finally established a community identity that had nothing to do with her mother or her ex-husband. True security is never a static resource you can simply marry into or inherit. It is a dynamic state, built day by day through relentless effort, honest partnerships, and the undeniable power of standing on your own 2 feet.